knee right there.
It's Santa Ed.
You can sit on Bob's knee.
That's right.
He won't mind.
Sit on your daddy's knee.
All right.
Check 1, 2.
One,
yeah.
two.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for getting here early and doing this with me, and I'll briefly introduce everybody. Of course, this is Mr. Blues himself, Bob Stroger,
Glad to be here.
and we got Lil Ed Williams
Hello.
and Mr. Tom Holland on in. And so we build this show tonight, Generations of Chicago Blues, and had this idea. I know everybody has so many great stories and a lot of history of Chicago blues, and doing my research and looking at interviews that you guys have given and stories you told. The first thing that I noticed is a lot of you guys, as many musicians coming up, had so many great mentors that helped start them into this business. So, Bob, if you don't mind sharing some of the early mentors that you worked with. I read that one of the first musicians that you got to hang around was your brother-in-law, Johnny Ferguson. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I started off, well, he was my brother-in-law, and he was a Muddy Waters man, and so I wanted to play music, and I just wanted to be around music. And I started playing music when I was an old man of 21 years old, you know, and I traveled around with the guys, and I was the only one on the west side had a car, so I used to take them around the gigs. And yes. So I just wanted, and I stayed there in a club on Oakley and Lake Street right behind Silvio's club.
Oh, wow.
And that really gave me the idea because they didn't have air conditioning back in those days, those early days, and the windows and the back doors was open so I could come out my back door and look right in their window. And I saw the guys playing the music in there, Mud, and oh man, Hubert and all the guys in Howlin' Wolf. And by me being a country boy, didn't know what a suit was, and they was wearing suits and ties. And people was buying them drinks in there. I said, hey, I want to do this, you know. So after that, that's what kind of got me started with this thing. And I had so many great people that bring me through this thing. Sonny Lansing, Eddie Taylor, all those guys kind of brought me through here. And I can't leave my man Jimmy Dawkins out. He's the one.
My man, Jimmy.
Yeah, he was the one got my birth certificate.
Wow.
Being from the country, you know, I didn't know what a birth certificate was, you know. I went to get passport, and they said, well, you can't do it, and I don't know. Jimmy always could find a way to do things, so I owe my part of my career to Jimmy Dawkins. Then the other part of my career, the oldest Rush. He was the first one took me to Europe.
Wow.
And Eddie Taylor, I owe him so much because he was the first one took me on the big tours. And when he got a raise, he made sure I got a raise.
All
So
right,
That's a good band leader.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way it all started. And I always say from the country of Haytown, Missouri, from the cotton fields of Haytown, Missouri, to around the world. So I've been really blessed.
Man, thank you for sharing that, Bob. And one thing I'd like to mention, you're talking about some of those early days driving musicians to the gig in your car, and it was a group called the Twisters, right?
Well, the Twisters, I was a part of my group trying to get things going. We opened up, started a band called the Twisters, me and my brother and a boy called Ralph Ramey, and your uncle was a kind of J.B. Hutto, so we all, for J.B. started to playing the guitar. So I was riding those guys around when they was just singing. So it's been a long history of this thing, and I'm just so proud to be with these guys up here, and they still care enough for me to let me hang around with them.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. And I think that's a good leeway. Ed,
Yeah.
I think probably your earliest mentor, was it your Uncle JB?
Yeah, it was. It was. That was my uncle. My uncle JB was my earliest mentor. But I wanted to say, it's an honor being next to you, Bob, because you know, we kind of knew the same people. You know, Sibios. That's where I first seen B.B. Odom and B.B. Jones.
Okay.
Because I passed by there. I would always go by there and peep in the window like you did. And I heard B.B. King playing, which I thought it was B.B. King, but it was B.B. Jones. I think, was it B.B. Jones the one who played the guitar?
Yeah, B.B. Jones.
Yeah, B.B. Odom sung like B.B. King. B.B. Jones played like B.B. King. And the funny part about this is when, you know, I went around to the door and I looked in. There's two guys standing up there. One's picking, the other one's singing, and both of them is making the same impressions that BB made on his face. So that was amazing to me because I had never seen that. You know, I've always seen BB King on. That was just before I went on tour. Bruce Ziegler sent me to New York, and we opened up for BB King, Bobby Bland, and John Lee Hooker, and I think it was one more we opened up for, and I got pictures right now with me sitting on B.B. King's knee.
Right.
Yeah, he told me he adopted me. He said, "I'm gonna adopt you. You're gonna be my son."
Well, he was that kind of guy.
Yeah. And my uncle JB. Speaking of my uncle was amazing because me and Pookie, we watched him play, and the first time we watched him, we was at Vegetable Buddies. I know you probably know about that.
Yeah.
Now, South Bend, Indiana.
Right.
We was at Vegetable Buddies. He was walking these tables made out of tree trunks, and they were all slanted, you know. I'm serious. And he was walking these tables. He had this long cord, and he's walking these tables. And me and Pookie was backing him up. That's our first gig. We was backing him up. I'm rhythming, and Pookie's playing bass, and he looks back, and he's way out there, and he looks back at me, and he begs for me. And I'm on stage going, "Oh no, man!" And here's the kicker. You know, my uncle, he had this look. If he gave us this look, we know we had to move on. You know, see, kids don't do that today. But he gave me that look, and I immediately jumped off the stage. You know, I jumped off the stage, and I hit the floor, and I heard something say, "Crack up." And that was my blue jeans. They had ripped in the back. And with the reflexes, I guess, by me being young, I bounced right back up on the stage, and the people went crazy. And they wanted me to do that all night long. But I couldn't do it because I had to walk around with JB's sweater tied around my waist all night. But that was one of the best experiences in my life, you know. Yeah, another thing I found after I started seeing you guys hang around, because Pookie would bring me to see y'all at the fish market up there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I started going, man, I want to do that, you know. And my uncle seen he seen that I wanted to play, so he started to teaching me, you know. And that's how I got into this business.
He was a really remarkable guy, boy, and one of the true singers. Only singer kind of got JB out on the road. JB wanted to travel, and my brother-in-law, he was a front porch player. He didn't want to go no place. And JB, he was singing, but he needed a guitar player, and he watched Johnny, and that's where he started to learn how to play so he could get out on the road.
All right. Yeah, I remember him in Wise Fools. You know, we all standing up there and we looking at him, and JB's singing, and he's getting out, and he steps off that little step, on the stage they had, slips and his foot's going straight up in the air, and he lands on the floor back first. And me and Pookie jumped up to grab him, you know, because we was like, whoa. And he looked at us and shook his head, get out of here. I know what I'm doing. And just kept playing, never missed a note.
This the show. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Never missed a note. That was amazing.
Man, the ultimate showman. Yeah. Well, man, Tom, I know you and I spoke because we did a Blues Blast
Yeah,
interview a few months ago, and you mentioned one of your first regular gigs was with L.V. Banks. Would
Yes,
you
yes.
say he's one of your early mentors? Who?
Yeah, Marty Salmon, Buddy's old piano player.
Yeah.
He and I grew up together, and Marty was playing with LV a lot, and so Marty was like, "You should come out to some of these gigs. I can probably get you on some of these gigs." I was like, okay, now these were all in little, because LV always played those little South Side joints.
Yeah.
So it was like, the first gig I did with LV was a beauty salon at 64th and Halsted.
Wow.
And so Marty and I would go down there, and they were beside them, these two little white kids coming in there and just playing blues. That's all we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we were the novelty.
Did you ever get in Teresa's? Did you ever go
No,
to Teresa's?
no. I was by the time I had enough sense to start sneaking
Okay.
into places. Teresa's was already gone.
Yeah. Okay.
But you were going to the checkerboard.
Oh
right?
yeah, no. I used to go to the checkerboard all the time, and that's that was where I met Primer.
Okay. How long
And
did you play with Primer?
about 3 years.
Okay.
2 or 3 years, I think it was.
Yeah.
He was the first one that took me out on the road.
Okay.
I was 18, 19 years old. I was a kid. Didn't know any better.
Well, you learned something.
Oh yeah. I always tell people, I said, well, every time I see John, I said, this is all your fault. I said, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this
I know that.
right now.
I know when you started playing with me at that little bit you was doing,
Oh yeah.
you was ready to go.
Yep,
And you
yep.
was hot to trot. And my wife fell in love with you. Now. I started to come down there and choke you around your neck a little bit. No, I'm just joking.
Well, one thing I thought was really interesting too, Tom, when we spoke, is when you talked about your first guitar
Yeah.
being left-handed, and your folks didn't know about left-handed guitars, right? So
No. I didn't know. They didn't know, and I had it. I flipped it upside down and backwards, and I had seen people trying to bend strings, so I had the bass strings on the bottom. I'm trying to bend these strings, going, this. I don't know if this is gonna work, because I couldn't get. I'm like, I can't bend these to save my
I
life.
didn't even know that you played left-handed.
Well,
as long as much as you played with me, I never really paid that much attention to it.
well, all those years I played with Cotton.
Yeah.
Every other tour, there'd be some point in the tour, and he'd just kind of look at me and go, "When did you start playing left-handed?" I said, "All my life." I said, "No. I don't ever remember you being
It
left-handed."
just looked, you were doing it so well, it looked like you was right-handed.
I've been fooling people all my life, Ed.
Yeah. That's amazing.
how did you get your first guitar, Ed? Was that from your uncle, or was it somebody else in the family helped you get a guitar?
My auntie actually bought my first guitar. It was a Tesco. It was 3 pickups. It had 3 pickups and about 19 knobs on it. And she bought me that, and then she turned around and bought me a set of drums too. And Uncle JB used to come over and play for the family. he would play with my other uncles. You know, they'd all get together. All my uncles was some part of music. My oldest uncle, they called him Howlin' Wolf. There was so many Howlin' Wolves in Chicago. It was just too many Howlin' Wolves. Everywhere you go, it was a little Howlin' Wolf, a tall Howlin' Wolf, a skinny Howlin' Wolf, a fat Howlin' Wolf. It was just so many Howlin' Wolves.
And Sunnyland used to talk about them too.
Yeah,
All you wolves.
Yeah, Sunnyland did. And then, I mean, that guitar, that was one of the, I mean, you could play bass with this guitar because it had 3 pickups, and it was, like I said, it had 19 knobs. It was amazing. Man. Yeah.
Well, and that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, Bob, because you mentioned in some of your interviews that you actually had to make your first electric bass. You would take the guitar and tune it down. And
Well, yeah, back in the day, I started off trying to play the upright, but, as a young kid, you wanted to hang, man, you know. And I couldn't be going to the club, leaving the upright on the top of the car, And,
No.
and then Jimmy Lee, I think, was playing the tune down. Dave Miles said he was the first one did it. I don't know, but I know I know Jimmy Lee and showed me how to play the octave string, so that's where I started to do it. And well, back in the days when the Red Top started out, I was just trying to play guitar, and we used Hip and Jug. I don't know if you guys remember that group where 2 twins played. One played guitar, another than bass.
Yeah.
And when he come in, we was working on Madison, and I think in Oakley someplace up there years ago.
Oh, Madison, Oakley.
And he was coming, and we be getting down, man. He look at you, y'all kind of playing together, but y'all doing the same thing. Everybody going boom, da boom, da boom. So one got to be
How
doing
long
something different.
did you play stand-up bass?
Oh, I played really not professional. I played, started playing about 1904. I really got started to trying to mess around with it, but it got messed up in the basement. The basement flood.
No.
And then but my first bass I ever had, and I still, believe it or not, I still play it now, the red jazz bass.
Man, when you showed us up.
Yeah, that's my favorite bass. This one here, what I'm playing tonight, I got it from Antone's. We used to go down to Antone's, and everybody had their own instruments. We didn't have to bring no instruments. So this is a 61 P bass here. He gave it to me. In the jazz bass I got at home, I think it was 1960. And the way I came by this bass, I was playing in a place called I Spy on the south side.
Wow.
And Left Hand Frank, I don't know if anybody remembers it.
Oh, yeah.
So he loved to drink, and I was playing this little guitar run down what Elmo James them made. I used to call it the plank, They made that one for me. Then and he came in with this red Fender what I got at home. And he wanted to sell it. And I said, man, how much you want for it? I said, you ain't got for 3 strings on it now. How much you want?
yeah.
And he said, oh, man, give me $7 and I have a pint of whiskey. And that's how much this baby cost. Now it's worth thousands of dollars. Man. Yeah.
I know.
And you just used it
Put that
last
thing
night,
on.
right?
Yeah, that's the one I'm.
Don't put it on eBay. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's worth billions of dollars now. It's thousands. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you're talking about upright bass, Bob, and I know for a while you were working with a jazz saxophonist. It was Rufus Foreman, is that right?
Yeah, I worked with Rufus. That's where I got with Eddie King. Did my first recording there. When you start off from the South, I started off in blues, but young kids, especially black kids, you know, they want to be hip, and I think blues and you know we like to dance.
Yeah.
And,
Blues and soul.
and blues, yeah, you know, I want some prestige, and so I thought if I learned how to play jazz, I have prestige, you know. But like we were doing more rehearsing than we were working, you know, starving to death of rehearsing.
You know, Johnny Christian was big on the West Side.
Oh
though.
yeah.
Johnny Christian
yeah.
had all the fat ladies.
Yeah, man. So them was the days, man.
Yeah. I used to watch him, Ballhead Pete.
Yeah,
all them cats, man.
yeah.
Yeah, they be cutting up. They was
Well,
cutting
them
up.
the days back in those days, we wasn't looking to do nothing really serious. You know, all we wanted to go out and play. You
Yeah.
know, the money didn't mean anything. I think my first gig, I got about $4 a night we were playing for, and it went up to $7. And then I think I got a gig with Freddie King because his bass playing got sick.
Yeah.
And I did, right after he did Hideaway. And I got $17. Hey, man, I done made it big time, you know.
Oh man, you
Yeah.
got good.
Yeah.
My first gig was $6.
Yeah. So but we just wanted to play, man.
$6 and 2 beers.
Yeah. So this was the love of it. Just wanted to play. All you want to do is get you
Rico.
a little gas.
Yeah,
You know, so, yeah.
Me and Rico, I come up around Rico McFarlane. I come up around him too because he was the kid on the block doing the Temptations, Shot Lights, and so he taught me the rhythms. And here I'm in open D. I'm trying to play rhythms and with the Temptations and all that stuff. And he'd take me to the club. He'd take me to this little club on Lake Street. And he'd get up and do, he didn't know but 3 songs. He'd get up and do the 3 songs, and he said, hey, play something, you know. And I started playing my slide, and people started hollering and screaming, and he fired me. He said, no, I don't need you no more tonight. Just get out of here. And then he had to come back and get me because he didn't have no rhythm player.
And he got through his 3 songs.
Yeah, man, we talk about it right now today. We laugh and talk about it. I said, boy, you fired me so many nights. I don't know why I was playing with you.
Well, you didn't know how to play until you got fired. I think my first job, it was in Robbins, boy. It's something crazy. I had my little girlfriend out here. I'm working with Lorenzo Smith tonight. Come on down. And I didn't know how to play nothing but Jimmy Reed, boom to boom. I thought that's all you had to do to learn to play music, you know. And I went out there, boy, never been so embarrassed in my life. Did one number, he said, Bob, you's a good man, but it's a little more than music. I can't use you tonight. Now I'm a girl out there. I got my girl with me short on, man.
And you know you're feeling
Yeah,
bad.
man. I said, I got to go and learn how to do something.
He wouldn't even
the
let you
same way
finish
with-
the gig.
No.
I felt the same way when Rico fired me, too, because I had an old lady with me, too. And she said, well, why he fired you? I said, I don't know.
What about you, Tom? You ever had anything close to that?
No. I kept my nose clean.
I know Tom. No, you had to be
yeah,
right
no.
though to get on stage.
Oh yeah.
Cause them old brothers, they didn't play that.
Oh no. Yeah,
know.
there were plenty of times. I never got fired on a gig like
Yeah,
that. But
they put you
boy,
down.
you played the wrong thing. Like Ed was the stink eye.
Yeah,
I said they didn't have to fire you. You fired yourself.
that's right.
You know?
That's right. There was an old cat in the basement named Wilbert. You might know him. He played guitar. He'd sit down there, and they had this jug of, I don't know what they was drinking. Whatever it was a jug or whatever it was. And they was sitting down there drinking. But me and Pookie, we was down there with our tongues hanging out. And we thought we had, because we didn't know nothing but at that time. And he cut out with a boogie woogie.
Oh no.
And he
Now
said,
what can I do?
yeah, he said, he looked at me, he said, come on, boy. And I said, I. Y'all ought to put your you-know-what out of here, man. You don't know what you doing. Sit over in the corner and shut up. Them old souls, they didn't play, man.
No.
They step on your toes and look at you dead in the eye.
Oh, yeah.
Let you know real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You had to go to a jam session. You set up a whole week trying to learn a song.
And then they won't play it.
I know.
You just didn't get up on no band.
No,
stand,
you
man.
didn't.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Mm-mm.
Now, had to
You
do
remember
something.
Johnny Dollar?
Oh, yeah. Do I know Johnny Dollar? Oh, man.
Johnny Dollar was something else. We fight all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Every time he play, he won't start a fight.
Oh, yeah. He
He
was a good musician, though.
he was a
Oh,
he
yeah.
could play.
Yeah.
He could play, boy. But after 2 minutes after he hit a couple of chords, it was time for him to rumble.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ed, was your first experience on stage, was it sitting in with your uncle? Or I also read you sat in with Hip Link Chain, and you were talking about all the Howlin' Wolves. I read about Lil Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah. Uncle JB introduced me to Howlin' Wolf before he passed. I think they was getting ready to go on tour. They was going to Europe, and they had a tour with them on it. And I think we was at Sivio's we was at, and Howlin' Wolf walked in. JB was standing there. Me and JB was in there, and Howlin' Wolf said, JB said he can play. And I don't know why he said that to him. He said, come on, fella. You know, I had to look up to Hollywood. You couldn't stand up. You could stand up, but you had to look up to him. And one of his hands was big as mine.
Oh, man.
One of his hands just swallowed my hand up. He grabbed my hand. I couldn't find it no more. I was like, that man about scared me half to death. And then I hit a couple of notes. He said, okay, you can sit down now, son. Uncle JB started laughing. That about tickled him half to death. I was so disappointed.
About how old were you, Ed?
I don't know, 16, 17, somewhere around there. I don't know. I was a young kid, but I thought I knew something.
Yeah, that's where all of us did, because
Oh, yeah.
back in the days when you're playing blues, when I listened to Johnny on the porch, everything was muddy water. You know,
Yep.
if
Right.
you all you had to do is do the lump. You
Oh,
know,
yeah?
You
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
all was to it.
Yeah, but you had to know 1, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, Uncle JB, he would teach me the one. He taught me the one, right? Do-do, 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 do-do. Then when I got it, he'd leave, go out of town. I'm at home. Do-do, do-do, do-do.
Think that's all it's
That's
to
all
it.
I can do, yeah. And then when I get back, when he got back, I said, I got it, Uncle JB. He said, yeah, but can you do this? Then he go to the 4. And I would be like, oh, man, this is killing me. You know?
Oh, yeah. She was just saying on the mic.
Huh?
Got to say it into the mic. She was saying it's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, Tom, how'd you get connected with James Cotton?
James, I had actually sat in unbeknownst to him and I years before. I was hanging out at Kingston Mines one night. He came in off a tour. I was sitting in with, it might have been Charlie Love's band. And I was sitting in, and I took a solo. I opened my eyes after the solo, and there's James Cotton standing next to me blowing
Oh, my
harmonica. And just as fast as he got up on that stage, he took a solo, and he was gone. I'm back out the door. And and then I got done playing, and I went outside. And he was standing outside, and he just said, "Hey, sound pretty good, kid." So, thank you, sir. And and at the time, I think I was playing with Eddie Clearwater. So and then a couple years passed, and Rico
Yeah.
was playing with Cotton.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was going.
That was after
yeah.
Michael, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so Rico had gotten a call to go play with Lucky Peterson.
Oh, wow.
So he kind of, I think, knew he was going with Lucky, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so Slam Allen was the other guitar player with Cotton at that point.
Yeah, okay.
And I had done some gigs around Chicago with Slam
Okay.
when he was playing, when he had started playing with Cotton.
Okay.
And I always told Slam whenever I'd see him, hey, man, if Cotton ever needs a guitar player, I'm the guy. And so when Rico went to leave, they needed a fill-in. So I was, they hired me to fill in for a month tour out in California.
Okay. Okay.
So they called me to do the.
I remember that too. I remember
And
that.
they called me to do the tour. I was in New York City with my wife on vacation. It was Halloween. I'm in the middle of Times Square. This, and this is when the cell phones were still big, and
Yeah.
I'm in Times Square. Hello, this is James Cotton Management. We got your name from a number of different people, and we need a guitar player to go out on tour. Okay, I'm in. When do we leave? November 2nd. I'm like, okay, I'll be ready. Here's my address, and and so we got back from vacation on November 2nd at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Midnight that night, I was getting in a van and driving to California.
Wow.
Whoa.
About
Wow.
halfway to California, Cotton's manager says to me, hey, so I'm a little concerned. I said, about what? And he goes, well, you haven't asked where we're going, what the gig pays, any of the details. I said, I've been on the road long enough to know it's okay. And he's like, and I said, and when James Cotton calls, you don't say no. And he goes, oh, with that attitude, you're going to be in this band a while. And I ended up being there for 12 years.
You know how I know that Tom he's got so much old school in him because he talks just like the old school guys. And me and him he was playing with me overseas. And he looked at me and said, all right, come on, get it. And about scared me half to death. I thought, is this man crazy? Come, yeah! And I said, oh, Lord, who is this guy?
What did I do?
But he had got me in the mode. So now we're both talking and having a good time. People started having a good time.
It
But
was
that
all downhill from there.
It was amazing, It was amazing. I told my wife, I said, I love this guy. Because we interact with each other.
Yeah.
And Bob, did you ever play with James Cotton?
No, me and James was real good friends, but I was at the time, me and James, Willie Big Eye Smith, we was all hanging buddies back in Hubert. They used to call us the Road Runners, How these old men that go drive all the way to New York and get out of the van and go to play and have fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what that's what we did.
But me and Cotton, he was a real nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because we used to go down in Antone. He was a part of the family
Yep,
of
yep.
us
Oh,
down
yeah.
in Antone,
Yeah.
But never got a chance to work with him. But we was buddies. Him and Albert Collins, all of us hung together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, that was the good days, Lonnie Brooks, Albert Collins, all them cats.
That's where it started from. Matter of fact, that's where we all went down there because Antone used to say musicians, they couldn't afford no vacations,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we was the only one go down there. He could take our family down,
Yep, yep.
And the weather was nice,
yeah,
too.
down.
Yeah.
And then we
Nice and
started
hot down there.
and we started off another festival, which in Luzon, first one. We were the first one started that festival off because Big Daddy Fritz, he wanted us to have vacations that we couldn't afford, and so when we used to go over there, we could bring our families, our wives over, take us to the wine fields and things. So so that's the way it all started. Those guys kind of got us out there, and it was just so much love back in those days. You had to play good because you wanted to impress them. You know?
And see, that's what I'm talking about. See, I got that from these guys.
And I got it from you.
And he got it from me, and you getting it from him.
I'm getting it from all three.
It's just one big happy family here.
Because in this business here, if people see you having fun just like last night, they going to have fun.
Right.
But if you whoop there with a sad face, they going to start looking, they going to quit having fun and start, what's going on up there,
And
so.
much respect for you, Ben, because you do have that old school flavor.
Man,
And
this is my partner here.
You make us old coons feel good,
Well, I have to give kudos to my dad when you're talking about that. My father, every time he's on stage, it's serious. We're playing music, but we're here to have a good time, like
Your
you said.
dad is phenomenal, man.
Thank you.
I love the way he interact with the crowd and have a good time. He's great.
So he's really instilled that into me, and I know your father was a musician too, right, Bob?
Yeah. So that's where it all started from. We're so bad right now. I try to give it back to the kids, sir. I go down in Pine Top thing. I know he looking at this guy here smiling. And we got a lot of guys come out of this camp, and
when he on the keys, the Pine Top helping him out. All right, let's move over this way.
That's what it's about, and I feel like those guys brought me through it, and I want to give back to the kids.
Yeah.
And I go down every year for a whole week, just tell them and teach them the guys taught me back in the days.
Great.
And so that's where it do. We move from one to another.
Yeah.
And moving on to my man here now, so he gonna pass it along when we are all gone.
I just did a acoustic gig over by my house, and a couple of fans came down with their kids, and now I'm gonna be teaching one of his daughters. I'm gonna teach her to play slide, and her brother wants to learn. So I'm hoping that they really get with it. I wanted my son to do it, but he decided to tear up the guitar. He didn't want no parts of it.
Yeah, I had it. My son was the same way when he was young.
And
he would do it. At first it was fun because he'd go out there, the girls would look at it. But when it got to be old, his dad, this ain't enough money for
I
me.
know. See, my son didn't even get that far. I come to the house, man. He had tore the thing up the guitar. I bought him a brand new Ibanez, man. Brand new. Paid $300 for it. Back then, that was a lot of money. I come back 2 days later. The neck was laying on the floor. The guts was out. I said, "Well, boy, what did you do?" He said, "I was trying to fix it, Dad." I said, "Don't you fix on nothing else no more."
I want to thank all three of you guys for taking the time to do this. Once again, Tom Holland, Lil Ed, and Bob Stroger.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to have
The
a great...
generations
It's
of
going
the
to be a
blues.
party tonight.
Generations of the
Yeah.
blues.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, we want to thank Tony and Jennifer and everybody at Rose's Lounge for hosting us. We're going to have a great time tonight.
Yes. So tune back in at 9:30.
We're going to have
That's
a
right.
ball tonight. And I like some dirty, you know what I want.
Oh, Lord.
Ain't nobody talking to you, man.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you.
All
Yep.
right, no problem. Okay, we can sell these mics now.
We'll be back at 9:45.